afternoon, Joshua, and thanks for meeting with me this afternoon. As you may know, that I've been contacted by a few of your teachers and your parents who are just a little bit concerned lately with the drop in your grades they've noticed. So I'd just like to start today by letting you know that you have a lot of people who care about you a lot in your life and who really want to see you be successful. But as you know, grades are very important, and I'm well aware that you're a student athlete, and I just want to make sure you're aware that your coaches are keeping a pretty close eye on those grades too. And if they start to fall, or continue to fall, then you're going to have to sit out for some of those practices and games. And I know that's something that you don't want to do. So, not to mention the fact that good grades are just important for your future. Okay, so our purpose here today is just kind of to talk about what it is that you're feeling that might be causing a drop in these grades, and then maybe I can try to help you figure out some strategies to improve them. Okay, so can you start by maybe telling me a little bit about why you think your grades are falling?
I just feel really busy all the time. I don't have much time.
Okay. So I'm hearing that maybe, time is a concern for you. Are there any other causes that you feel are really keeping you from getting your work done?
Well, I really just don't like my teachers this year. And things are kind of crazy, at home. Especially at my mom's house. I have my stepbrother, my stepdad, and my stepbrother runs around crazy all the time. It makes it hard for me to get my homework done, especially after coming home from practice.
Okay.
Every night.
Thanks. Well, I can hear in your voice a little bit of frustration maybe with some of the adults in your life. You expressed your parents and your teachers, and I'm hearing that time is a concern for you too. So I think we have two separate issues that I'd like to address here today, but why don't we start by figuring out why it is that you don't seem to be having much time for getting your work done at home. Can you maybe start by giving me an example of what a typical evening at home looks like for you?
Well, I have long days. I usually get home from practice around 6:30. Sometimes I work too, but most of the time it's just practice during the week. I get home around 6:30. I go to my mom's house usually. If she's not home yet, I usually, I'm watching my stepbrother, and we're kind of hanging out, but I just can't get my homework done when he's around. And he's jumping around crazy and chasing the dog around, and it's just hard to focus, and, I'm constantly trying to argue with him to get his homework done too, but, it's just tough. But when I go to my father's house, everything seems to work out okay. His house is a little bit more calm. It's just his dog and his girlfriend, but his girlfriend works different shifts, so it's just my father and I usually at home during the week after practice, and I can usually get my stuff done there pretty easily.
Okay, well, it sounds like from what I understand, maybe your evenings can be a little bit hectic sometimes. Your weeknights are not really on a very consistent schedule, am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can understand that must be a bit overwhelming for you. Why don't you start by trying to give me some information about, is there a specific time and place where you normally do your homework on weeknights?
Well, if I go to my mom's house, I guess I try to do it at the kitchen table, but like I said before, I got my brother. He's very loud, and it makes things hard. But when I go to my father's house, sometimes I do go to my room. I basically just do it wherever I feel comfortable at his house, in the dining room, at the table, wherever, I guess. It's nice outside. Sometimes I sit on the back porch and do it.
Good. Well, what I'm hearing from you then is that you work best at your dad's house because it's just a much more quiet environment, and much fewer distractions.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right to think that your mom's house could be a good work environment for you, if possibly we could figure out a way to kind of keep your brother from distracting you while you work?
Yeah, I think that's possible.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Then can we maybe just start by, you could generate some ideas for me about ways that you think you could get your homework done at Mom's house that wouldn't involve having your stepbrother around?
I mean, I could do it in my room. Could go up to my room up there, or maybe I could talk to my mom and work some agreement out with her, and talk to my stepbrother as well. So just maybe we could work something out. Like maybe we could both have homework time, and then we could just go outside and play after that, or play a game or something with them. That way I could get my homework done, and he can get his done also.
Good. I'm hearing some great ideas that really sound practical, and I think you're right to want to get your mom involved, because she may not know the full extent of how much how distracted you are and how much it's impacting your grades.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's our primary reason for meeting today, is that she is very concerned. So I think it's also a good strategy for you to kind of incorporate a way to maybe motivate your brother to kind of let you have a little bit of peace and quiet, and then reward him with some time, because it sounds to me like he wouldn't be distracting you if he wasn't really hoping for your attention.
Mm-hmm.
So great strategy you came up with there. Could you expand for me a little bit on your plan to actually make this happen?
Well, I mean, I think I'm going to my dad's tonight after practice, but I could probably talk to my mom tomorrow, and my brother, like maybe during dinner, or if I get home too late, maybe we could just have like a small family meeting and talk about my idea. See how that goes.
That sounds like a great idea. Good, I'm glad you have it all planned out in your head there. But I sure would love to follow up with you later on this week to maybe hear the details about how that works out for you. But I do think there's one more issue that we need to discuss, and that was some of your feelings you expressed earlier about some frustration with some of your teachers.
Yeah.
Do you think you could give me an idea about what exactly seems to be bothering you?
Nah, they don't like me.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling, that your teachers are not your biggest fan. Can you give me some more information about what makes you feel that way?
Well, Mr. Johnson, he tries to like call my name out in class sometimes when I'm falling asleep, and I set my head down, and I guess he says I'm not getting my work done, supposedly. But I don't know, he just calls me out in front of my peers, and it kind of embarrasses me, I guess, a little bit.
I can understand how that could be embarrassing to kind of be singled out in front of all your classmates, and so what I'm understanding from you is that you kind of feel a bit backed into a corner by some of your teachers. Am I right for understanding it that way? Okay, so you specifically mentioned Mr. Johnson. And I know from other students that Mr. Johnson does give daily participation points.
Yeah,
How do you feel?
Zeros.
He gives you zeros. Okay. So can you, zero's probably not the highest score you can get, I can imagine. Can you expand for me, why do you think you're getting a zero in Mr. Johnson's class?
Well, I mean, sometimes I do my work, sometimes I don't, but I'm just tired. I feel like I try to stay awake, it's the last period of the day, and it's tough for me, but I feel like I do like him for the most part as a teacher, but I guess I'm not getting my work done totally, I guess, if I'm going to be honest.
Well, I thank you for being completely honest, because that makes a lot more sense to me now. So it sounds like, while you feel that maybe Mr. Johnson doesn't like you that much, that you genuinely respect him, and you know the expectations. So I heard you say 8th period, and I do know that 8th period can be, pretty difficult for a lot of kids, not just yourself, because it is at the end of a long day. But I know that you realize that 8th period is just as important as any other class in the day, right? So we have to come up with a way to make sure that you're staying awake, so you can get those participation points, because it sounds to me like your grades would just skyrocket right back up if you could do that. Okay. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think so.
So what we need to do is come up with a plan, Okay, how can we make sure then that you are staying awake in class so that you do get those points? What do you think?
Well, I like to stay up late because I like to watch my shows. Mostly, I like the Friends reruns because I don't know. I just get home late. I get home late from school and practice, and by the time I eat, I feel like I don't really have time to relax and watch TV for a little while. I like to stay up late.
You sound like a lot of other students I've met with and talked with this year. It's unfortunate that some of the best shows are on in those late slots at night, isn't it? Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if staying up late to watch them isn't an option, what would be a better solution so that you get to bed early but you don't miss out on your shows?
I guess I could DVR them.
Okay.
Watch them. Maybe watch them. Maybe just while maybe after dinner, I guess.
That's a great option. Yeah, you might have to wait, that initial first night you might not have your show, but then from there on you'll be on a routine and you'll be getting to bed earlier and you won't be missing out on, things you enjoy.
Yeah.
So, in your own words, how do you think that you can benefit from, getting to bed a little bit earlier?
Well, I think it would probably, help me stay awake in Mr. Johnson's period. So I get my math homework, or I get my math work done, and I get my participation points, so I don't get a 0. So, yeah, I feel like I could do that, and DVR my shows, and go to bed a little bit earlier. And I think that would work out good.
Good. I think you're thinking very level-headedly here. So it sounds to me like you really do want to do well in school. So I'm proud of you for coming up with some great strategies to make sure that you do that. But I do know that things come up. Like you mentioned, busy schedules, and it's not always easy to make a change. So if it's all right with you, I'd like to follow up maybe later this week, just as some time passes, and see how things are going.
Okay.
And, it's Monday now, so would you mind if I touch base with you, say, Friday afternoon, see how the week went for you?
Yeah.
And then we can maybe make adjustments if we need to for the upcoming week.
Okay.
How's that sound?
That sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Joshua. You've been really open with me, and I appreciate that. And I think from our conversation, it really sounds to me like things are going to improve for you. So please feel free to stop by my office anytime if you just need some support, you want to talk. And I hope you have a great rest of the afternoon. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.